Ladies, gentlemen, all rise. Court is back in session. Welcome to another exciting episode of The Devil's Due. I am your host, Carl Duty. With me, as always, is a man who always manages to get to the chopper, Mr. Drew Celestino.
Well, I guess that makes me better than Shane Black and Jesse Ventura and all the rest there.
Pour one out for him.
They didn't make it. So me and Arnold just chilling on the chopper.
Yeah.
And the girl.
Yeah.
We don't know what happened to her.
No.
Okay.
That movie is so awesome.
It is.
It's like 3 really awesome movies in one.
Like, this is going to sound very old manish of me, but like...
And it works.
Do they make movies like that anymore?
If they do... They don't get theatrical releases.
Okay, that's you're very right on that. I was thinking about that recently, like about theatrical runs and stuff, and like, do comedies even come out anymore? Like, just your run of the mill comedic movies? Do they hit theaters? Do we know about these films?
They do, but typically nowadays you don't hear about a comedy unless it's doing big bank at the box office.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Like for as great as Hangover was, it kind of ruined it for a lot of comedies in the future, because now unless you're making Hangover money, no one hears about you.
Yeah. And like this, and again, I'm out of touch, but are there any actors now that are just like strictly known for being comedic actors, like their movies are just comedies? Because like back in the day, for instance, if you saw Bill Murray, it's like comedy. Yeah. Or, even Dan Aykroyd. Okay, comedy. Yep. Chevy Chase movie. It's comedy. Is there anyone now, those guys... I feel like actors now just do everything.
I don't think as much, and that's probably a good thing.
Okay.
Because if an actor's just doing one thing over and over again, they, gets old quick.
It does. I guess, I shouldn't say that, because, Adam Sandler. Comedy.
See?
Almost 9.
It's old. Well, no,
19 times out of 20 he has, but it's very rare.
Punch Drunk Love, things like that.
Yeah. Will Ferrell.
He's had a couple they're very little known indie films,
but in general,
Kevin Hart comes to mind.
Okay, so I'm all right. I'm kind of crapping on my own point here. Yeah. Never mind. I take it back.
Yeah, but it's not. But no, I get your point isn't completely lost. I get what you're saying. It's not as prevalent as it used to be.
It feels that way, but yeah. Theatrical runs seem like unless you're some big gigantic movie, you don't know that it's even in theaters. Yeah, and that's a problem that the theater industry is facing, because it's only really the big event films that are getting people out of their seats, because a lot of the indie films, they're finding, Netflix is just Netflix, Hulu, streaming services and whatnot are like, come to us. Sure.
We'll give you a theatrical run so you can qualify for, like perfect example, Roma, which got a ton of Academy Award nominations. It's a Netflix film. It got like a limited theatrical run to qualify it for the Academy Awards.
So it has to be released in theaters to be qualifying for an Academy Award. The Academy is such a joke.
Well, you got to have some things, some qualifying factors.
I guess, but I mean, it's the insiders club anyway. Like, times are changing. Like, I feel like Netflix and stuff there's not going to be a theater industry in 10 to 20 years, I think.
I think there still will be, because the experience can still not be replicated.
I totally agree. I just don't know how practical it is dollar for dollar for people nowadays.
We've seen how much it's changed just in the past 5 to 6 years around here in this area, especially. I think pretty much every theater is reserved seating. The type of food and whatnot you can get in the theater is different, and the changes are for the better, because they know now it's not just like they need more than just the movie to get butts in the seats.
Yeah. So, I would be curious if an Alamo Draft House were to open up here, like how that would work.
Well,
what would the vibe be like there?
I know I think it's the AMC and on Main Street and Amherst or something sells beer at the theater.
Is it still just the...
I'm not talking about no plastic cup. I'm talking about a glass of beer. No, I'm sure it's in some sort of plastic cup.
In Holland, did you know you can get a glass of beer at McDonald's? Anyway, I wonder though, at that theater, is it just the usual seating though, with the reclining seat and that's it?
I'm not sure.
I think I don't, and I've never been to an Alamo Draft House, so I don't know this either.
Yeah.
But I feel like if you're getting like a dining, or I'm air quoting, dining experience at a movie, wouldn't you need some kind of table or something like that?
You would. I'm a little wary of theaters moving towards the dining experience, because then I can see them becoming kind of like comedy clubs, where it's like a 2-item minimum or whatnot.
Yeah.
So
you never know, maybe.
Rabbit trails aside, let's get back to ceremonies. Sir, opening statements. How was your week? We almost didn't have a show tonight.
It was eventful.
It was it was breezy.
Sure was. Let's back up for a moment before we get into the storm and the darkness. Usual week by and large. We had a little evening with Bob Ross on Friday.
We did. We played The Art of Bob Ross.
The Bob Ross game. It's actually pretty good. Decent mechanics.
Yeah.
Once you get the hang of it, it's cool. You're playing against Bob. You're playing against cards. You're playing against other players.
Yep.
It's dare I say, it's a little deeper than you might think a Bob Ross game would be.
It's a very good big box store game.
Sure.
If that makes sense.
Sure.
As far as games you're going to get at Target, it's pretty good.
Yeah. So I think we were all a little shot, though. I know I was feeling pretty tired on Friday. The late night hours are not what they used to be for me.
Yeah.
I'm heading towards Eric Clapton town, Carl, where I'm old. And I go to bed early. And I wake up early. I'm going to be hitting up Old Country Buffet before you know it.
Del Monte.
If it's not...
Enjoy them, old man, for they will be your last.
Anyway, so that was all well and good. Saturday was pretty lazy. I hung around and did a big record session with Jason, which is our kind of like, again, a new a thing now. I kind of got the hooks into him a little bit with 9 Inch Nails now, so it's kind of cool. Yeah. It's a fun diversion. There might be... It's funny because the way it kind of happened is we have been talking about and sort of plotting and debating and figuring out logistics for a potential podcast with me and him. But in doing so, I gave him a couple of recommendations on shows that turned out to be 9 Inch Nails podcasts. And it's not so much that we want to do a 9 Inch Nails podcast, that's not it at all. But I listened to two different 9 Inch Nails podcasts because I'm a nerd like that. And they both cover... the same ground, but completely different approaches to their presentation.
Yeah.
So I pitched them to him to be like, hey, check these out and see what you like about both of them. And this is maybe something, and we could pick the best of both worlds if we decide to go down this avenue of what we want to do. So we started listening to those, and in doing so, like they were talking about albums that he hasn't listened to in like 20 years or more. Yeah. And he's like, so then, in them talking about them, I got really interested in hearing them again. So he's like, I've been spinning the Downward Spiral like twice last night. I went to bed listening to it. I'm like, yes, good. So we had an evening with The Fragile on Saturday, and The Fragile is like The Fragile. I don't even know what I can say about The Fragile besides it's
fragile.
Chef's kiss to The Fragile. It's aged like wine. It just gets better with time. So anyway, we put that on, put on some live stuff, and just, fun little evening. So Sunday... I'm sorry, go on.
As you're getting him into 9 Inch Nails, is he getting you into anything?
We kind of go back and forth. Whatever we are feeling, we pitch each other. He's got a little more eclectic taste, whereas I'm way more like... I'm real...
You know what you like, that's what you like.
We're both kind of like that, though, but he's a little more... he likes more stuff. We both have, when it comes to like the heavy stuff, which is what we're both, our bread and butter is heavy stuff. We're both very like-minded, and we're very like, it just has to scratch the itch the right way, and if it doesn't, we don't care. So in that sense, we're very much alike. But his palate's a little wider, so he's into more like he likes reggae. He's really into Radiohead, and he's tried to get me into Radiohead, and I don't not like it. It's just not something I look to put on, but maybe I just haven't had the right time and the
Is it one of those things where it's been like overhyped?
Maybe that's possible.
Okay.
I don't want to discount it out of hand because I've heard some stuff. Yeah. It's like, yeah, this is interesting, but again, their stuff gets really weird. Like later on, like these albums are 20 years old now, but I know. Put it this way: there's like Creep that everyone knows, and then there's the rest of their catalog. And, like, the rest of their catalog gets increasingly weird after that. And that's the stuff that people are really, like, hooked on, the real hardcore Radiohead people. So, like, I've tried to get there and figure it out. And I hear it, and I get what the appeal would be, but I don't know that that's something that appeals to me directly.
Has he tried to get you in the Tea Party at all?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we listened to some Saturday, actually. Okay. And all I can think with them is, like, these guys should be bigger. Like, this is a good band.
So good.
They're really good.
It's funny because they're huge in Canada, Australia, Ireland, and Buffalo.
Well, we're next to Canada, so, we might as well be a Canadian city.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're a great band. I could see myself getting hooked into that pretty easily.
What was the guy you listening to so far?
We listened to like a track or two. I couldn't tell you specifically, but it's like, I know the Tea Party. I know what they sound like, and you play that for me. I'm like, yeah, I get that. I'm with that. That's cool.
My favorite album of theirs is Triptych.
Okay. Well, I'll make some mental notes and do some diving because I'm always...
Most people will default to either Edges of Twilight, which was their second album, or Transmissions.
Okay.
You would probably, given the limited scope I know of your music taste, you would probably dig Transmissions the most.
Well, I'll give it a shot. We'll see. So that was mostly Saturday. Sunday started off all well and good. Just kind of hanging around the house, playing lots of Hollow Knight. Still not done. It's an increasingly big game. I can't believe it's not over yet, Carl. It's still going on. So then at about 1 p.m. ish, the proverbial winds kicked up.
Yeah, we got a slight breeze in the Buffalo area. And when I say slight breeze, I really mean 75 miles per hour.
Yes.
Winds sustained.
It was bad.
Yeah.
It was real bad.
It was wind.
And in my neighborhood, I have many a tall tree, including the two in front of my house and the two in my yard.
Yeah.
So I'm out there, I'm looking out the window, I'm like, wow, my trees are swaying.
Yep.
And as no sooner that I said that, a limb broke loose and went right down on my power line. Now, this did not cause me to lose power. It did cause the line to be taken down to a height of about 3 feet in my yard.
Yeah.
Whoa, okay. So, obviously the power companies knew this storm was coming, and they beefed up.
They were out in force.
They were ready in force. So, I called them at like 1... This happened at like 1:15, let's say, right?
Yeah.
They had the tree guys here by 1:30.
Wow.
And they had the power guys here by 1:45 to reconnect. See, the line pulled away from the house, but it didn't disconnect from the house. There's there's brackets that hold it on. It pulled off of those, but it was still connected. There's layers. Yeah, exactly. So they had it back up, in no time. I was like, wow, cool, good job, National Grid.
Sweet.
And then 3 or 4 hours later, my neighborhood went dark. So all of us were without power.
Yeah.
Now, in that situation, if you're not prepared, if you don't have a generator, if you don't have some kind of backup system for your power, you kind of go into a slight panic. So in our case,
power outages always freak me out.
Well, in my case, I have a sump pump that needs to run. So my immediate thought is, okay, if I don't have power, I'm going to be going downstairs every 30 to 40 minutes to bail out my sump pump. To bail out the sump. So I had buckets.
Yeah.
I had to bucket it out 2 or 3 times. The fridge and the freezer.
That water is not warm.
No, it's cold. Whatever. It is what it is. Now, the fridge and the freezer, I don't think too much about because, generally speaking, if you don't open them, they're going to keep for 12 to 24 hours. Freezer more so if it's packed. Mm-hmm. You get 2 days out of a freezer if it's full.
Yeah.
But we have 2 freezers. So we got the fridge upstairs, but then we also have our deep freezer, which has all of Grant's milk in it, like a whole stockpile.
Yeah.
That kid's ready for like a nuclear war. Should we have power during the nuclear war? So that was also a concern. Yeah. So, but fortunately, my brother-in-law had a spare generator, small one, just a little, small gas generator.
Yep.
Came over, threw it in the yard, ran some extension cords through the basement window, and I managed to get the sump pump on, the freezer on, and then we brought a line upstairs that I was basically alternating between like a lamp, and then I would, put the fridge on once in a while just to keep things kind of going. So, you think, okay, how long could the power be out, right? Like, what's an average outage? Hour, 2 hour. I mean,
something like that. Yeah.
You think they're going to get back to it quick? Well,
about that.
Yeah. So I was.
They get back to it quick when it's kind of like an isolated incident. When it's a massive windstorm that's causing outages area wide.
Yeah, there was something like 40,000 homes without power for the duration. So we didn't have power overnight and stuff, so it was a little dicey. So we layered up, put Grant in like 4 layers of clothes.
Yeah.
Went to bed, hopefully, hey, maybe it'll kick on overnight. And I had to kind of be up every 2 to 3 hours to put gas in the generator.
Yeah.
And, so my sleeping was obviously disrupted. Went to work Monday morning.
Yep.
Still no power.
Nope.
And I thought, okay, well, I guess I'm going to fill the generator up when I go to work. I don't work far away. Come back at my lunch, fill it up again. Like, this is my plan, right?
Yeah.
God forbid we don't have power. Well, we did not have power all day. So all told, we were without power for about 28 hours. So that kind of stunk. The house got down to 49 degrees.
Yeah.
I was prepared. When I got home from work, I told Jen, just take Grant, go to your granny's, sleep there. We put sweaters on all the dogs, and I was gonna I put layers on, and I was just like, I'm not leaving the dogs here by themselves. I'll stay here overnight with them. I'll put them all in the bed. We'll all go under the blanket, and we'll all stay here until the power comes back on. And she was gone. She went to her granny's. I'm sitting here by myself with a lamp on in front of a little space heater that I was alternating with the fridge. And I'm just like, well, this is what we're gonna do. And then, fortunately, after a couple hours into that, power came back on, and all was right with the world.
Yay!
So, I'm reevaluating some of the home reno now. Some of the ideas I had for refinishing the floors and whatnot. Might take that money, investigate
solar power.
I got to do the cost-benefit ratio to solar versus the natural gas backup. Get a natural gas backup generator, goes outside, runs on your natural gas. It'll kick on should you lose power from your main source. And they come in all different tiers.
Yeah.
You can get the $6,000 one that'll power your whole house, or you can get something smaller if you just want your bare essentials. In my case, I probably just want something for the bare essentials.
Yeah.
Keep the sump pump on. Get the furnace on. We tried getting the furnace on the portable generator.
Yep.
No dice. It's something to do with the ground wire, because the portable generator isn't technically grounded. The pilot igniter for my furnace will only work with a grounded source. Weird. So
yeah, it was weird.
Some are like that, some are not.
Yeah.
Mine happens to be like that. So anyway, that's reevaluating the situation. So life got back to normal about 7:30 p.m. yesterday, and that's kind of what's been up. I went to work today, and I'm still in a fog because it was what an adventure it was.
Yeah, I can imagine.
We are a very
spoiled
and dependent society now on the old electricity.
That's why power outages always freak me out, especially at nighttime, because power's out for like just X amount of time, people start to get itchy and whatnot, and like,
I'm not gonna lie,
you got roving mobs, and
you joke, but like I was, it was dark. Yeah. I go outside, dude. There were no street lights. My whole neighborhood was out, so it was pitch black out there, pretty much. I mean, moonlight, for God's sake.
Yeah,
and that thought does creep in your mind. Like,
you want to hope people will be their best selves, but people as the Muppets Take Manhattan once said, "People's is people's."
I put it this way: if I were a criminally minded person,
and outage is a choice time to
go looting,
do some shenanigans,
right? I mean, why not? Who's going to stop you? There's no power, no lights. People may not even be home. I'm sure that most people got out of Dodge and went to stay with a family member.
Yeah.
Like, here I am, huddled up with my animals.
Yeah, we did not lose power, which was very surprising. Because our neighborhood, there's freaking trees everywhere.
Yeah,
pretty much live on Endor. But yeah, no, I'm glad it worked out.
It did. I'm sorry for monopolizing the show so far. Fine. So how was your week?
My week, let's see. Work's good. Work's going well. I'm surprised. Spoilers, folks. We don't really have any emails to go over. I'm surprised because Jay had an email ready to go and was all excited about it. So, but alas,
you might have to hit him up tomorrow and be like, "We were fishing for content, Jay."
Nah, Jay's always good to show. He's got a lot of stuff going on. So.
He does. He absolutely does.
So yeah, Friday night game night here. Saturday night, obviously with Saturday, obviously with getting a new job, with really great benefits, is freeing up some cap space, to use the sports parlance. And some things kind of broke our way in the past couple weeks, and we came to the conclusion that we're in a good spot to get a second car.
Very nice.
We've been a one-car family for about, 6 or 7 years now. We've been making it work, but now with William, he's 2, he's going to be 3 next month, and preschool and stuff's just around the corner. Having just one car is not really ideal,
sure,
as it used to be when it was just the two of us, because because I work downtown, and William is about 20-minute drive away if traffic is behaving itself. But if there's an emergency or something and I gotta go, or he's at school or something and I'm the only one with the car, it's gonna take a little longer to get to him. So we decided to go out and get a new car, and we were looking around, and we had a budget in mind, and we had a couple ideas of what we were going to get, and then my friend Jim, who's very car minded, starts telling me, he's like, I don't think you realize how much car your budget can get you, and our budget wasn't huge,
right?
So he just started sending me these links from cars.com. And we did end up getting a car. We are the proud owners of a 2015 BMW.
Look at you.
We got a great deal on it. Yeah. Drove it here tonight.
Attaboy.
It's fun.
It's fun.
It's all-wheel drive. It's got turbocharger on it. And it's got a little button you press to the sport mode. Makes it go faster. It's great. I love it.
Be careful out there.
It's very strange to walk up to your car, open the door, sit down in the car, and turn the car on without ever taking the key out of your pocket.
Yeah. Yeah. Technology.
Yeah.
Wait till that goes. Wait till it breaks.
Yeah. That would be interesting. So yeah, it's really cool.
Awesome.
It's red. It's fun.
Flashy. Why be subtle?
Yeah. Why?
I'll be honest. I don't see many red beamers out there. They're usually blue or black.
Yeah.
In my experience.
When you drive a red car, and this is not my first, when you're driving on throughways one night, you're like, a lot of bland color cars out there. I'm really glad we kind of went this route. So
you're going to get looks.
Yeah. We actually test drove a Cadillac too, and I was not crazy about the Cadillac.
I mean, I'm not surprised.
Well,
especially next to the BMW.
Cadillac's a good brand.
It was a good brand.
No, dude. That's for what our needs are. I think it was just the wrong Cadillac for us, but Cadillac's a quality brand. So yeah, we got that now. We just gotta get a car seat for it. So
yeah. Does it require a special car seat or something?
No, just standard car seat.
Gotcha. Okay.
I think, and then Saturday, was it Saturday night? Yeah, I think it was Saturday night. No, Sunday. We all sat down and watched Incredibles 2 together.
How was it?
It's on Netflix now. It's good. It's really good.
Okay.
It's like right under the first one.
All right.
It's like if here's, I mean, obviously it's a visual medium, but here's Incredibles, like just a hair underneath is Incredibles 2. Really, really good. Trying to think what else. That was pretty much it.
No,
obviously we're dealing with the windstorm and whatnot. Obviously not as bad as you guys were, but
it's a good time. It's a good time.
Good times.
Yeah.
Dear listeners, if you'd like to tell us about your good time, send us any questions or comments to the show. You can do so at the following location. You can follow us on Twitter at DevilsDoPod. You can like our page on Facebook by going to facebook.com/DevilsDoPod. You can email us at thedevilsdupod@gmail.com, or you can find all these resources available to you on our website, thedevilsdupodcast.com. And Drew, that being said,
this is where we would have email.
We still don't have any emails. I mean, Alan even had a snow, I'm using air finger quotes, snow day, and still didn't get an email sent in. For shame.
Alan does throw a lot of content our way in our chat, though.
He does. I mean, the news we have this week, so it was a light news week, is pretty much all made up from stuff Alan sent us.
That's okay. Thanks, Alan. Producer Alan over here.
Yep. We appreciate it. All right, so since we have no emails, let's dive right into the news. Hey, Drew.
Yeah.
Did you know that on your Nintendo Switch you can access Xbox Live?
Yeah, I heard that somewhere.
Did you? We have some more details to this now, and this is no small thing.
Okay.
We're getting some trademark Xbox titles coming towards the Switch in the forms of like Halo and Gears of War. And
now,
what are your thoughts on this?
We need to be clear on this, though. They're not coming out physically. You're not going to be able to go buy Gears of War or whatever for the Switch.
Right.
They are going to be streaming. Is that correct? As part of Microsoft's Game Pass.
Yeah.
So you would subscribe to the Microsoft Game Pass, and then you can log in and play the game in streaming form via the Nintendo Switch. Fascinating. Now, my question is, when you are streaming a game, does that mean that your machine that you're playing it on isn't even running the game? You're just on the internet? You're playing the game over the internet, essentially?
I mean, isn't that kind of what the Nintendo app is for the Switch? Like, you're just kind of streaming the games?
I don't know. And because is the internet speed that fast that's a thing you can do? And I know in other countries you can, but here that's impressive, most impressive. So yeah, that's interesting. Now, to be fair,
it's not. I mean, you could do it with PlayStation if you had like a PS4.
Yeah, I've seen
that. The PSP.
Yes,
you could stream your PS4 games to PSP, so it's not unheard of.
I'm looking at an article about this right now. So apparently this is going to be a thing. I'm curious what's in this for Nintendo, I guess. Is this some kind of partnership, or is this just Microsoft like
Here's what I'm thinking. I think old scars still bear their mark.
Yeah.
And I think Nintendo is thinking back to when they had an opportunity to partner up with Sony.
Oh, no, you're looking. I think you're looking at it the wrong way.
And they decided not to, and inadvertently created their biggest competitor.
I think you're way off here.
I think Nintendo is being smart and partnering with a flagging competitor, and maybe just like swooping in, being able to scoop up, some exclusive stuff. Obviously, Microsoft and Sony are not going to team up anytime soon.
No.
I think that like it's very feasible that we will not see another system from Microsoft. It would not, let me put it this way, it would not surprise me either way if they came out with a new system or if they said no, we're just doing software now. They want the Sega route. I would not be surprised either way. Now, I think if that's the case, if this partnership with Nintendo works out well,
if it is a partnership, this is all just being reported right now. There's no confirmation on it. If everything that's being reported is true and this works out well, I think that you will see Microsoft decide to not produce another console and just move directly into software producing, which is their bread and butter since day one. And if that happens and Nintendo has them locked up, it's something.
I wouldn't want to be Sony.
I don't know. I think Sony's going to be fine. The PlayStation brand is so strong. They'd have to really screw it up to lose ground. Microsoft in the big picture isn't much of a player. I mean, they are a player, but they've never been able to get a foothold in Japan. I mean, it's only one country, obviously, but it's a major country for gaming. So, in terms of exclusive content and whatnot, it would be interesting. But I don't think Microsoft's their goal. I don't think is to make. They're not looking for exclusive content if they're doing this. They're looking to expand their reach, if anything.
Yeah.
I don't know if they'd bail on the hardware altogether, but this feels like one toe in the water a little bit. Like, it's kind of a feeler. But the only thing is, like, I don't know if they would want to necessarily offload hardware production to, let's say, Nintendo. Now, I say that because Nintendo is not going to push the envelope in terms of performance or power. They're not going to. They're not selling a $600 Xbox Pro X or whatever it's called.
We have an idea of what we want this system to do. This is the X amount of power we need to do said thing.
Yeah,
that's all we're really going to invest in.
Yep, because Nintendo does not. They don't make it a habit to take a loss on consoles. Period. They sell them at a profit, and they have billions of dollars in cash on hand as a result. So, I don't know about that. But if the streaming thing becomes more and more viable over the internet, then let the game run on some server somewhere, and then you can access it via whatever lame hardware you might be running. I mean, you can run it on your phone if you wanted to. Your phone's not the thing doing the actual gameplay. So if that's kind of the future, then maybe they might want to back out of hardware a little bit, especially since the Xbox got trounced by the PlayStation. If they were neck and neck still, or if Xbox was ahead, they might not be doing this right now. But they kind of dropped the ball significantly with the Xbox One. I don't know. To me, it's all gravy for Nintendo. I mean, if they can sit there and brag like, hey, by the way, on top of all of our own games that sell our systems en masse, Microsoft's giving you their big stuff too. Yay, us.
Yeah. It gives me hope. I had an Xbox. Mm-hmm. I grabbed an Xbox towards the end of the system's life.
Which, the original?
Okay. I got one super cheap. And one of the games I played for it was so incredible. And this franchise only ever had one entry, and they've never done anything with it since then. So I would hope that possibly part of this merger is we get that game again. If not, just like a reissue the original, because I'd still be fine with that. Or a new one. That was Crimson Skies. Think of Twisted Metal, but instead of cars, planes.
Okay.
It was fantastic. It just played incredibly well. So I'd like to see a return of that. Other than that, there's nothing so much for me in this.
There's very few Xbox games I would even care about.
But it's something that's really, I think, interesting how it's possibly playing out, and will definitely be interesting to see.
I'll wait till some official confirmation comes out. The way some of it's being reported is awkward. Microsoft, to me, though, is definitely dealing from a position of weakness.
Oh yeah,
they're hurting. In my opinion, they're hurting, and they need to find a way to get their product. See, it's weird. Here's the weird thing: if you can play Xbox games on the Switch, what benefit is that necessarily to the Xbox? Like, is that going to make people go out and buy an Xbox?
Which makes me think,
it. Why would they?
Like, this is kind of their ways of saying, adios to the console market. But again, I wouldn't be surprised either way, because, like, Sony made a lot of mistakes with the PlayStation 3. But in the end, the system still had legs, and still had a good life. Xbox One was almost dead on arrival.
It felt that way. It really did.
And Microsoft went back and changed a lot of the stuff that, they screwed up at E3. But it all
damage
seemed
was done.
Like it was too little too late, and just not like there's no innovation or there's no innovation with Xbox. Like, what you're getting out of an Xbox. I'm not talking so much about the hardware, more like the software. You're going to get your Halo, you're going to get your Gears of War, your Forza, your whatever.
If I can be fair to them, I will say the innovation you do get is on their online platform. Xbox Live is far superior in terms of its usability than PlayStation Network and whatnot.
Yeah, it's
it feels tight. Your friends are all you feel very connected to everyone you want to play with at all times.
Yeah,
and that's great if that's your thing. So if you're doing,
if you don't have anything you really want to rally to play,
which as I get older, I don't.
Yeah,
I never was a big online gamer, and as I get older, that's not going to change. I don't think. Yeah. I like my single-player experiences, and get off my lawn.
Get off my lawn. It'll be interesting to see what happens.
We will see. I'm
fascinated.
I'm curious. I'm very curious.
So,
yeah.
Another thing that happened this weekend, and I know you don't care very much or at all, but I feel it bears mentioning. The Academy Awards happened this weekend, and
yay.
Marvel took home some trophies into the Spider-Verse, which I'm ashamed to say I still haven't seen.
I know.
Won Best Animated Feature over, I think, 2 Pixar films.
Whoa.
Yeah, well, Incredibles 2 was one of them. I think there might have been another
one. Go Spidey.
Yeah. And then Black Panther won a couple of its nominations. I'm not going to lie, Drew. The awards they won were early on in the show.
Yeah.
And the crowd was popping hard for Black Panther. And I thought maybe. I mean, I know it's all a political process.
It's never going to be Best Picture, man.
But at the end of the day, these things are voted on by, pretty much the people who were there. I was thinking maybe.
Nah.
It goes from 0% chance to like a 5% chance.
That was never going to happen. But they did win for what? They won for Best Production Design, Best Costume
Design,
and I think Best Soundtrack.
And Score.
Score, okay.
One of the things we lament about the Marvel films is that the scores are like kind of boring. And funniest thing...
As I said here, I couldn't tell you the Black Panther score.
The composer for the Black Panther score might have been the whitest dude in the room.
Irony.
Like, we're talking...
Fine. Whatever.
We're talking, long-haired, Norwegian-looking dude.
Wow. Hey, look. It takes a village to make a Marvel movie. So that's great. Production design and costume design, I'm not going to lie. If it didn't win those awards, then there's no truth in any of which there isn't anyway. But come on, man. What else? We said it when we reviewed it on this show. Like, it looked so unique and so striking that I'd never seen anything like it, and probably haven't since. Like it really was incredible, and even though I'm not a big believer in these awards, it deserved those awards.
Yes,
because it was it looked so incredible. So cool. Well, good for Marvel. It's more hardware than DC's got. Maybe not Warner Brothers, but DC has never. No, no.
Suicide Squad is an Academy Award winning film.
It got one. It got one. Black Panther has 3. One. Scoreboard. Okay. So that's okay. Hey, go Marvel. Just keep on marveling. Which they're about to in about 2 weeks. We get Captain Marvel.
Yeah, I still haven't gotten tickets.
We might want to get on that.
Yeah. These things are much easier before we both had kids.
Yes. I have to figure out babysitters now, and that's going to be a thing.
Yep.
Speaking of Captain Marvel, did you see Rotten Tomatoes is reevaluating their whole reviewing system because the trolls?
Yeah.
For Captain Marvel?
Because the internet is full of horrible, horrible people.
Yeah. Yes, it is.
Many of them. The trolls came out as they've been doing for pretty much every Marvel film lately. And even more so, superhero films or sci-fi films featuring strong female leads. And put a whole bunch of bogus reviews online.
I know people do get to see these movies early, but why was the public ever allowed to review a movie before it comes out? This is I don't know. So stupid. That's why these platforms are just. I don't know.
But hey, Rotten Tomatoes finally went, okay, enough is enough.
Hey, smart move.
Yeah.
Damage is already done, but hey, good job.
Well,
now
something's better than nothing.
It is. It's just. Come on, man.
I know.
I know. You know what's funny, though? Not funny. It's because it's not funny. But it's like, we get 2-3 Marvel movies a year, right?
Yeah.
And Star Wars, DC, all these different franchises. How come all these review bombings and crap only happen to, I don't know, movies that have strong female leads?
Because a lot of people are terrible.
Okay, just checking.
Not all
just
people.
Checking.
But a lot of people.
Because then you're going to get because I know you're going to look online and there's going to be people in the comments like, well, actually, it just wasn't a very good movie. Let's be honest. It's like, dude.
Yeah.
I see. Like John Cena, I see. I do see you. In fact, I see right through you. Come on.
Yeah.
It's okay.
That's. So it's. Some people just want to stick to the old ways of.
Get a life.
Yeah.
Fun Captain Marvel fact that I have heard on the internet is that she does rock that 9 Inch Nails shirt for more than half the movie. Inside, I'm kind of like, it's kind of cool.
Yay. So, okay.
All right, that's cool.
Last bit of news that at least I have is a couple weeks ago more than a couple weeks ago now, we've long since mourned and bemoaned the cancellation of Daredevil, and I like to think we've been we've made our peace with it and moved on. We still have to sit down and have a conversation about possibly rebranding the show. Some fans, Drew, surprisingly enough, fans doing something crazy, are not quite ready to let go yet, because this past weekend in Times Square, there were some billboards saying to save Daredevil. Now, a billboard in Times Square,
not cheap,
is not cheap.
Not cheap at all.
And this was a couple of them.
I mean, look, I admire the spirit.
Yes.
We do a show on Daredevil. Yeah. So obviously, hey, man, yay. But I'm also kind of like feeling like Sean Connery in Last Crusade. Just let it go.
Yeah. I mean, it's not going to save it.
No, it's not coming back to Netflix magically. Put it this way. In the time it would take for them to uncancel it, get a crew back together, begin production, film episodes, you're talking about basically as long as it's going to take for those rights to just go back to Hulu or Marvel or whatever they're going to do with it anyway. It is what it is.
Yep.
I don't like it necessarily, but I've made peace with it, and hey, look, keep on keeping on, but
we applaud the effort.
I absolutely applaud the effort. I do. Save Daredevil, yes, it would be nice, but I'm also not gonna look forward to it.
Save the Daredevil, save the world.
I mean, the comic's still going. You want get your okay. I don't want to throw shade at people or whatever. Right?
Yes, because we know how much you don't like to throw shade at people.
Follow me for a moment. A lot of people, okay, have watched Daredevil. And many people are upset that Daredevil is canceled and that Iron Fist is canceled and that not Black Panther,
Luke
Cage, and the Punisher and yada yada. People are upset that these shows are canceled. Hey, we too are upset that these shows are canceled. Carl, if only there was some other way I could find stories about these characters that I like. If only there was some other medium or place where they told those stories. I can't put my finger on it. Maybe on a monthly basis, like a news story could come out every single month.
You might be on to something.
I don't know. Folks, go read the comics. They're there. There's 40, 50 years of back issues. You could dive in anywhere and just go and tumble down a rabbit hole. And we'll recommend you good stuff. Just ask. We'll tell you. We'll tell you where to start. There's plenty of stuff out there.
Valid.
And that's not to say that I'm not trying to pick on anybody here. I'm just saying I too am upset about the show's cancellation. But look, if you really are hard up and you want more, look into the comics. They're great. Comics rule. There's nothing to be ashamed about reading them. They're awesome. They're so awesome. That's why they're taking over Hollywood, because someone in Hollywood finally recognized, hey, these are awesome. Let's do this, but with people and make it big and crazy. But the comics are still great. They're still awesome.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's my little appeal to the folks that are upset about the Daredevil cancellation.
Yeah, no, I fully agree. Read some comics. But then we run into the problem, Drew, where the comics aren't always that great.
They're not always that great, but so what? Wait till the next one. It might be great.
Fair enough.
Not a lot of movies are great either. I mean, come on. There's bad movies. You're not going to never read it. You're never going to never watch a movie again because you saw one bad movie. You're never going to never watch TV again because you saw a bad episode of a TV show. So if you have a bad issue of a comic, guess what? There's a million more out there. And there'll be a new one next month.
Yep.
Just take a chance.
I get you.
Take a chance.
It's wise words.
Did we talk about Reggie retiring?
Oh, geez, no.
Holy.
Gee. Sorry, man.
It's okay.
That's my bad.
No, it's okay.
Yeah.
Reggie Fils-Aimé, Nintendo of America president.
Is it Fils-Aimé or Fils-Aimé?
Fils-Aimé. Fils-Aimé. I don't know. It's pretty sure it's Fils-Aimé.
Reggie with the big hands.
Reggie's a big guy.
Reggie's a big dude.
And his body was ready, but now his body is ready for retirement.
Yep.
Oh, dude, I'm bummed. Now, to me, dude, he's been a very...
It's an end of an era.
It is. He has been a public face for that company for something like 14, 15 years.
Yeah.
And he's... Now, you got to be careful with giving him too much credit for what Nintendo has done in his tenure, because...
He's the salesman.
He is effectively a salesman for America. He has to sell Japanese product to Americans.
Yeah.
So
Reggie's not grinding away making the next Mario.
No. He can tell Nintendo Japan, hey, look, here's how the American market kind of is. Yeah. And he's been a big voice for that. And but he's not sitting there dictating what Nintendo's going to do in the big picture. So
right.
But in his role, he was a public, friendly face who people seem to really like, and he had a great connection with fans. He had a great rapport with people. He was always enthusiastic about the product. He didn't come off like trying to think. You watch E3, these presentations and stuff, and sometimes you get these guys that are just like they're suits, and you can tell they're suits. They're business guys, but they have to talk about the business they happen to run, which is video games, and it just rings so hollow and false. You're like, this guy has never played a video game in his life. Reggie was not like that. He felt like a guy who played games and knew the product and knew what people liked about it, and he just got it. And he always made himself the butt of jokes too, which helped. Like, he was self-deprecating, and it just endeared him more to fans. So now with him gone, and Satoru Iwata's passing a couple years ago, which I'm still sad about. A huge chapter of Nintendo's history is closed. It's those two very public faces are gone now. So it's kind of weird. It's kind of strange.
And now only Bowser remains.
Yeah. Nintendo of America is being run by a guy whose last name is Bowser.
Truly, these are the end times, Drew.
Princess, hide.
The princess, hide.
Hide, princess. Mario's days are numbered.
All games are Bowser now.
I know. It's so bizarre.
Captain Bowser, treasure hunter.
It's a fun headline to say, like Bowser runs Nintendo. But I hope he's ready for the job. I hope he's as enthusiastic and fun as Reggie was.
I just hope he gets Metroid Prime 4 made for you.
Nintendo's on top of that. Don't worry. I trust them to get that done. But yeah, it's a bummer. It is a bummer. But I think Reggie can leave knowing that he left the company in a good place, and he did his job admirably. Even in some rough times, he did the job and steered the ship, and they came out okay. So
yeah,
we'll see. It's a little bummer. Again, he's a friendly face that we all came to kind of know, trust, and look forward to seeing, and now that's going to be gone.
Yeah, good times. All right, Drew, I think that just about does it for the news.
Okay.
At least that I can think of. As I get the notes out here. Whoa, Drew, 2 weeks in a row we're talking about the Daredevil TV show. What are we doing here?
Well, it's almost like we're back on track.
Yeah, it's almost.
Just in time for the show to get canceled. Anyway.
Yeah.
So, Very nice.
So
I actually look like I have notes in this. Oh god. They're on my
seeing as my commute home from work is longer nowadays, didn't quite have a chance to watch the entirety of this episode.
It's okay, I'm
sure. To, skim over some parts. But this is a really good episode. Episode 9, Revelations. A lot goes on this. This is like a couple pivotal episodes for Matt, as he's having a true crisis of faith in this episode on multiple levels.
Yeah, well, I mean, between his worst enemy seemingly winning, and now this revelation about his mother kind of rocking him to his core, Matt's having a bad time.
Yeah, so Matt goes to confront the priest.
Yeah,
Father. What's his?
I don't know.
Yeah, we're so bad at this.
Hang on, I'll get it.
We're so bad at this. So he goes to confront the priest.
He's a supporting character.
He's a good supporting character.
He's a good actor. I like him here.
He's hustling at the local pool hall, where the kids go to commit shenanigans.
Do the kids still do that?
I don't think so.
Okay, just checking.
So yeah, finds them there hustling, and he's trying to get some explanations going on. Matt Matt goes through a lot in this episode, mentally and emotionally, more than physically.
Father Lantom.
There
you go.
And we have a lot going. This episode sees a revisit of the voices in Matt's head, for lack of a better term. He has conversations with his father, and the voice of his father eventually devolves into that of Wilson Fisk towards the end of the episode. And we get a flashback. Do you remember there are flashbacks like all the time?
Yeah, it's been a while.
It has been a hot minute. We get a flashback to Maggie meeting Jack and falling in love, and I'm very glad that this was not the timing of the flashback seemed to be just right. Like, they didn't drag it out for a lot of the episode. They gave us the important beats. They gave us what we needed, and then just kind of moved on with the story.
Jack is stealing a Bride of Christ. She's taken, buddy.
The Bride of Christ is actually the church, but I get what you're saying there. So Maggie and a couple of her sister being the religious classification, not the genetic, go to a boxing match for, why not? Reasons. And Jack is fighting, and Jack doesn't have a corner man, so he charms Maggie into being his corner man, and
sure,
they fall in love from there, and they have a kid. And Maggie has very bad postpartum depression.
Yeah,
and they kind of play this legit because it wasn't. And they mentioned later in the episode they didn't know what they know now back then.
It's true.
So Jack doesn't really know what to do, so he just kind of calls the Father Latham and the other nuns and says, Lantham. Father Green Lantern.
Father Green Lantern. Yes.
So, come, and they came and got Maggie, and that was kind of that. And again, I really liked how they did it. It wasn't a flashback episode, which we have coming up next, unfortunately.
Oh, everyone's gonna. Okay, go on.
It's the weakest episode this season.
I mean, it's all right.
Right after an episode where they show us how a flashback should be done. But yeah, like we see Matt is having a crisis of faith. He is, and we've joked around in the past that, the Catholic guilt being what it is, he's kind of just beyond that because he feels betrayed right now.
Sure.
From the ones that he possibly trusted the most.
He was already in a bad place. And now with this betrayal, like it certainly isn't going to help his state of mind any. He was already keeping his friends at a distance for his own reasons.
Yeah.
But I mean, I still feel like, he could trust them.
Yeah.
Now his world's, but even more so now, his world has been torn asunder.
Yeah. And he comes to a pivotal decision in this episode where he's like, I'm going to kill Fisk.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, for the guy who spent a season convincing Frank Castle that his ways were wrong, this is quite the step back for Matt Murdock.
That was one of, I felt, the missed opportunities of this season, is not having Frank show up at some point.
Well, I don't disagree, but I mean, they, by this point they were already filming a Punisher show, and it's the old. I mean, to be fair, the movies have this problem too, where big stuff is going on, but we don't know where Captain America is, or what. Outside of his own movies,
with the films, I always kind of approach the films like a comic book.
Sure,
you have your Captain America monthly, you have your Iron Man monthly, you've got your Spider-Man monthly, and stuff's going on in those books where obviously the hero could use some help from the others, but it's just It's their book. They're the ones that got to deal with it.
This is Daredevil's show, and he's got to deal with it.
Yeah.
But philosophically, this is a big swing from where he was previously.
Yeah, and it's tough. I'm not ignorant to what he's feeling as far as like the betrayal from a parental figure.
Right.
Trying to say this in the nicest, most politically correct way possible. And the emotions that can bring about.
Sure.
Are rarely rational emotions.
No.
I mean, I think anyone who... A crisis of faith is part of having faith. It can walk such a fine line between being a purifying fire that can burn away some unneeded rubbish, or it can be something that permanently cripples you spiritually for the rest of your life. And I've had my crises of faith. I've spoken on this show numerous times about my faith, and Lord knows that faith was pushed to its absolute limit, the morning I found my father when he had passed away.
Sure.
And that's not like necessarily the betrayal I'm talking about, but I get where Matt's head is at in this show, and you see things sometimes, I think, in black and whites when there can be shades of gray. And Matt, I think, has always had that in this show, but now he's kind of like looking at the black and whites through a different spectrum. And that spectrum has been like perverted and obscured by Fisk.
In a big bad way. And this episode doesn't... I mean, the hits kind of keep coming here.
Yeah.
While all this is going on, we're finding out that, like, Foggy's brother has been put under Fisk's thumb. So now Foggy's kind of screwed. He's under the gun now, too.
Yeah. We're finding out Fisk is immensely more powerful than we thought he was.
Right. Because then we have Agent Nadeem going to meet his boss to try and get, he wants to do the right thing finally.
Yeah.
And he goes to her at her home. Surprise!
Yeah.
She's in on it, too.
Yeah. There was something I bumped up against real hard in this scene.
Okay.
The kids didn't hear the gunshots?
Were there kids in the house?
Yeah.
I mean, they probably did and got scared, I would think. I missed that. I kind of...
Yeah.
Either way, there's going to be cops at that house, and they're going to have to explain their covers. Someone was still killed in their house, so one way or the other, the kids are going to either believe the cover story or whatever. But that's fair. That's a fair thing. But yeah, she killed the Fed guy, and here we are.
Yeah.
So now the feds are under Fisk's thumb,
but they don't call him Fisk.
No,
they call him Kingpin.
Well, we got to keep the. It's good to remind people.
Yeah, and so the episode finishes up on just a fantastic scene in what looks like a bank vault with candelabras lighting and just such a it reeks of comic book villainy in the best way possible.
Okay, and
it's just Fisk fully assuming his position as the Kingpin. Like the other heads of the what families there are left have been brought by the FBI, which are now Fisk's pawns.
Yep.
And they're given their options. Well,
they're going to fall in line.
Yeah, fall in line or get a billy club in the head and be dead.
Yes. Didn't Nadeem get shot in this episode?
He got shot in the last
episode. I have a note here that just says, how long can a guy live with a gunshot wound?
He got better.
I'll say.
I think it just great. I think it was like they didn't...
Did it graze him or something?
Graze, yeah,
okay, because I mean, I was just thinking like, I've seen Reservoir Dogs, and Mr. Orange was bleeding for.
Mr. Orange had more blood in his body than the current starting lineup of the Chicago Bears.
Yeah, but he's just bleeding out for the whole movie.
Yeah, yeah.
Anyway, yeah, Nadeem, not so much. He was okay. It was kind of like Last Action Hero when just a flesh wound.
Yep,
that's a deep reference, but
a very deep reference.
It's not a bad movie, actually.
It's not.
It did poorly, but it's really not bad.
Yeah, it's a interesting look at 90s action cinema where it was.
In a way, like, isn't that... I feel like that movie would do better. That concept would do better now than it did then.
Yeah, yeah.
I think people would get the joke better now.
Yep. Great.
What a segue this was.
Yeah. There's a great line Arnold has that's just... His delivery is so awesome. He's like, I've gone to detective school, police school, and years of training. You're telling me that all I got to do is drive around the house, drive around the neighborhood, point the finger at the house, and say the bad guys are in there? It's so great.
It's a great movie.
It's so great. It really is.
Leo the Fart.
You're gonna pass gas one last time. How do you get to Carnegie Hall? Practice. John, practice.
You're the guy who killed Mozart. Who? Who? Zart.
Zart.
I kill a lot of people.
Look at him. He's a cartoon cat. He's one of the best detectives on the force.
It's so stupid, but it's great.
It works on so many levels.
His whole closet's the same outfit.
Yep.
How'd you know it was a bad guy? There's always a bad guy in there.
Wait a second. I'm the comic relief. This is not going to work. Oh, man. That was great. Great soundtrack.
Oh,
too.
Yeah. Big gun.
Yep.
Anyway.
What were we talking about? Oh, yeah. Daredevil.
Here's our new format after Daredevil ends. We're just going to do Last Action Hero podcast.
Last Action Hero fanfic. Start those emails coming.
Sir Ian McKellen is death in the end there.
Yes.
Later will be Magneto. See? Relevant.
Yeah.
Full circle.
Yeah. Yeah.
So weird.
Even just like a little momentary, like Sharon Stone walking by in the basic instant garb.
Yeah.
Robert Patrick walking by as the T-1000. It's just awesome. Just awesome. But no, this was a really solid episode. It's definitely in the conversation for best episode of the season.
Just real quick, I want to point out, and I'd have to do I would have to do math, which I'm not going to do, but I'm looking at the IMDb scores of all the episodes for every season of Daredevil, and my cursory glance tells me that despite some people that have said that they did not like season 3, believe it or not, they're out there. Season 3 has the highest scores of all 3 seasons.
Yeah,
per episode,
and it's well deserved.
Like really high.
Yep. So, do you have anything left to say on this episode?
I don't. Matt's at a low point. Fisk has consolidated power to a big bad degree, and right when the thing about this show and this season especially is like it's grim.
Yeah, it's but the little beats too, like Fisk making Nadeem take off his.
Oh yeah. No, all that's great, but
at the end of the episode, Matt finds everything and just
the way it just builds though is like, man, things are like dire.
Yeah,
and I mean dire, and you wonder how are they gonna fix this?
Yeah,
and spoilers, they do. Just so as bad as it is, it gets better.
Yeah.
This season, the show in general, but this season really like ratchets things down, and the last several episodes are just like an explosion of awesome.
Yeah.
So
we're in the home
but maybe not the next one. But I think it's fine.
Not so much the next one.
Yeah, it's fine.
Didn't need to be a whole episode.
It's fine.
All right, folks. That's going to do it for us here for another episode of The Devil's Due. We appreciate you, as always, stopping by. If you would like to send us any questions or comments to be read on the show, you can do so at the following locations. You can find us on Twitter at Devil's Due Pod. You can go to Facebook and like our page at facebook.com/Devil's Due Pod. You can email us at thedevilsduepod@gmail.com, or you can find all these resources available to you on our website, thedevilsduepodcast.com. Drew, that being said, any closing thoughts?
Dear homeowners, invest in a small portable generator. Should you ever have to go without power for any sort of extended period of time, you will be thankful. So,
or
big props to my
power.
Whatever you can do.
Yep.
Just, in those emergency situations, be prepared. I learned the hard way, and I'm grateful that I have family that took some pity on me and bailed us out in the 0 hour. So,
indeed. Well said.
Yeah.
All right, folks. I'm going to go drive my cherry red Beamer.
Like I texted you, achievement unlocked, baller status.
Yeah, it's quite possible. All right, folks, thanks again for joining us. Court is adjourned.